In today's video, we're going to go through kind of an old video that I did about a year ago, which talks about fragrances that tempted me. And I did a video, like I say, 1 year ago, where I talked about the small number of fragrances over the years since I started my channel that have tempted me into possibly purchasing a bottle. And I just kind of read them out on a video. We're going to see if I bought any of them in the time of that year passing. And I'm actually going to go back and smell them, which I didn't do last time, and see, can I take these out of my to buy list, even though they've been in a tin for many moons. We're going to have a smell and see if they still intrigue me and whether they should be in there or not. So let's go. So to do this, I will have to watch my video that I filmed a year ago. It got 3,500 views. And let's skip to the first one. The first one I'm talking about is Phonacia. I can't pronounce it. Phonacia, something like that, by James Healy. And I remember this one being kind of smoky, date, sweet, fruity, incensey. So this one has been in my tin for a long time. I think maybe a little bit polarizing in the sense that people that aren't really into perfume might find it super weird smelling. Yeah, I remember that. There's a girl I know called Tammy, and she saw me one day and said, "Oh my god, like what is that? Why would you wear that?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." It doesn't get good feedback. So we're gonna have a smell. It's been a long time since I smelled it. And we'll see, do I still feel the same way? Would it be in a to buy list now, or has my taste changed enough to throw it out? Or would I be still tempted into buying it? So let's give it a spray and we'll see. So this is my tin of samples of potential to buy lists of things that I thought were good. And I'm gonna hopefully find a Healy sample in here. Okay, I have found it in the tin. I thought it was not there, but it is there. There you go. So we're gonna apply it again. I'm gonna just put it on my hand, I think. Okay, so does it still interest me? Interesting. This was a long time ago that I did a video on this particular fragrance and put it in the to buy list. Immediately I smell synthetic oud. 100% synthetic oud. I didn't pick that out on the review. I'm sure I did not pick that up. Let me spray again. It's not as fruity as I remember. I remember kind of sticky dates and kind of incensey, a little bit watery. I can tell the synthetic oud, it is quite on the synthetic side. Again, the fruitiness, not quite as strong as I remember. I remember it being kind of more kind of dates and raisins. Maybe it comes through a little bit more as it dries down. You get kind of a dry, it's almost a watery texture to it. Which is weird because I just also said it's dry, but it's the best way I can describe it. It smells watery in a sense, as in translucent, maybe is a better term to use, translucent, with a synthetic oud note. Interesting, fascinating. See, it's been so many years since I smelled this. No, I would not buy that now. That would be out of the to buy list. It's not as interesting as I remember. I remember being quite fascinated by that when I first smelled it. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I've not smelled something like that before. But no, there is some intrigue to it. It's not totally lost me now. But definitely nowhere near to what I remember many years ago. I suppose picking up on certain synthetics, it kind of puts me off a little bit. If you're familiar with one he did called Agaoud, it's the same oud note in this. That is also synthetic. Yeah, that's a little bit disappointing. Okay, so we took that out of the tin. That is no longer on the to buy list. Let's go back to the video. Okay, so skipping forward, skipping forward, we've got, it's got a beautiful, like the name suggests, clementine orange note. It does go a little bit shower gel shampoo-like. The next one that I talked about on my to buy list, things that tempted me, is Clementine California by Atelier Cologne. I did actually go and buy a bottle of this one since doing that video. It is here. You can see how much I've used. I do have a little bit of Pomelo Paradis left, so I use that one as well to finish it off, but I put a little bit of a dint in, considering that I use both, so to speak. I'm not primarily using this one. So yes, I bought Atelier Cologne Clementine California in a replacement of Pomelo Paradis for my kind of summer fragrance. I'm just finishing off the little bit that's left in that bottle. The only thing with these, they have some of the best citrus notes in perfume. I think they're brilliant that way, and I love the presentation. I love the customization as well. You can have like little pouches for them in different colors and things. Very cool brand, I like them. The only trouble with the citrus ones is they don't last or project that well, so you might not kind of notice it around yourself that much, is the only downside. But they are lovely fragrances, and I'm happy to have this one. I think it smells great. So that is one that tempted me, and I ended up buying a bottle. Let's go back to the video and see what else I mentioned. The next one I mentioned is Spiritueuse du Bal Vanille by Guerlain. This one is fantastic vanilla fragrance. I love it. It's I have a woody vanilla. Didn't buy a bottle of it. I think this version of it you can't get anymore. I think they discontinued it, and I think they re-released it in like a different presentation with, I think, a different formula. I've not smelled it. I don't know, but I know that original version that I liked is no longer around. I nearly bought it in Dubai. They had a bottle in Dubai, and I didn't. But it is a nice fragrance. So on my to buy list, probably still there as one of my absolute favorite vanillas. It is really good, but I haven't gone and got it yet, or I don't know whether I ever will, to be honest. Wearing heavy, like, singular vanilla fragrances isn't something that I'm drawn to as much these days. I love the way it smells, but do I want to walk around smelling like vanilla all day? I'm not sure. I used to have Ivory Root by Xerjoff, heavy vanilla, sandalwood and spice. I did get tired of wearing it. I ended up giving it to my sister as a gift, and now she wears it. I had the French thing, the Maison blah 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 thing that George from Fragrance Apprentice did a video at the train station of. I use that as a room spray. It's like spray your bed with it or whatever. More than I use as a perfume. So yeah, vanilla is one of my favorite notes to smell, but I don't particularly like walking around smelling of it all day, if that makes sense. So we'll move on to the next one on the list. And that one also has a white chocolate note, but white chocolate. Coromandel by Chanel. I never got around to buying this, but I think it's a fantastic fragrance. I really like it. Fortunately, I have a friend in America who sent me a birthday present, or was it a Christmas present? No, it must be a birthday present. They sent me a birthday present, and it was a miniature bottle of Coromandel, which is here. Little dinky thing. I've worn it a couple of times since having it, and it's great. I really like it. I'm not sure I'll ever buy a full bottle, but certainly I'll wear the mini and enjoy it. And if I get through the whole of this one and feel like I miss it, then probably would end up buying a bottle. I think it's a great fragrance. I like it. I'm not going to talk too much about how it smells, but people compare it to kind of white chocolate. There's kind of patchouli, kind of light woods patchouli, and this beautiful kind of sweetness, a little bit powdery. I think it's very nice. I like it, and now I do have a miniature version, which is quite dinky. I like these little miniature bottles. They're quite cute. Back to the video. Let's see what was next on the list. Let me scroll through. It was around the time that I started this channel, and I didn't like it. I thought it kind of smelled like an old man, and it was a bit kind of rotten smelling. Like it was just funny smelling to me, like a bit off, and not quite. It just wasn't my taste back then. Yeah, when I first smelled it, it kind of smelled mouldy and kind of damp and old smelling, and wasn't my cup of tea. I own it now. and I did indeed buy it, and here it is. You can see, to be fair, it's pretty new. I have put a substantial dent in it. I like it, I'm glad I've got it, and it's probably the only one from Creed that I would buy. I had my time with Aventus, I enjoyed it while I had it, don't feel the need to ever buy it again. When this is gone, probably won't buy that again either, but I'm enjoying it while it's here, and yes, it was on my to buy list, and now I did buy. So there you go. So let's go back to the video and see if there was anything else. Oh, okay, so I smelled that in the airport, I really liked it. I sprayed it on my skin before getting on the plane to go home. I thought it was great smelling, and I would definitely... Dior Homme Cologne, on my to buy list for a while, and like the video said there, I smelled it in the airport in Dubai one time coming home from offshore. I sprayed it on, I thought, oh, that's nice, and sprayed it on before I got on the plane. Unfortunately, it didn't last. I did end up buying a bottle, which is here. You can see how much I've used. I like it. I think it's a great designer fragrance for the summer. However, the performance is terrible. I can spray this thing 20 times and it's gone in an hour. It just disappears. It doesn't work very well on my skin in terms of lasting any length of time whatsoever. But while it's on there for the first 10 minutes, it is very nice. Very simple, kind of light, transparent, musky, citrusy, clean, bright, fresh, everything that's good about summer fragrances in a minimalist kind of way. You can see how much I've used considering I've had it less than a year, and yeah, good stuff. I like it. I'm happy that I have it, but I wouldn't buy it again just because the performance it's just not great. Like, it's an expensive fragrance. Even as a designer, it's kind of expensive for what it is in terms of, you know, you can't smell it after half an hour. But yeah, I was tempted and I did buy it, so we're doing well in terms of this video of potential fragrances. I did end up buying a few of them. The other one on this list is Bottega Veneta. This was Pour Homme, and there's the Pour Homme Extreme, but they're very, very similar. This is like kind of like a juniper pine, woody, leather kind of fragrance that utilizes things like labdanum in the base to help give it kind of a leatheriness, and I really like it. I stand by my kind of description of that being one of the best designer fragrances in terms of just being different from what mainstream designer fragrance is. Like, is doing its own thing. It's not trying to be popular, like it's not Paco Rabanne 1 million. It doesn't smell like bubblegum and sugar. It's like juniper and green and pine and woody and leathery. It's kind of unique in the designer realm at the time, but in general, very good fragrance. I don't think I have an actual sample left of that in my tin. I don't have it in my tin of goods, but I did like it, and I still like it, and I have not bought it, mainly because the performance was crap. It didn't last very long, and the dry down was a bit disappointing. Love the top notes, love the mid. Dries down into more like a singular note of labdanum, and that's it. It's kind of a bit flat and dull in the dry down. But for a designer fragrance, I think one of the best, and if the performance works better on you, which it does for some people, then it's definitely worth a shot, definitely worth grabbing. Another one that I liked that is not in that video, I guess I forgot to mention it, but it's Dolce di Giorno, which I have a little bit of here, by Boyce 1920. I gave it a very good review, and I said, oh, this is one of the best fragrances I've smelled this year. I liked it. It had like a plummy kind of fruity tone to it. This is samples completely nothing left. It's just dry, so I'm smelling literally the tube. I'm not getting much from it. I get a little bit of the fruitiness from smelling this, but not enough to give you an opinion on it. I remember it being good. However, like the Fonacier over there, like, my taste changes over the years. I smell more materials, I get familiar with things, and then when I recognize things, it kind of doesn't do it for me the same. This might be kind of along those lines where my taste has kind of gone past it a little bit in terms of just your evolution of the things that you like and enjoy kind of changes over time. Smelling what I can smell here, I'm not sure I'm bowled over with it as I remember like giving such a good review. Maybe if I did the same review today, it might not be as rosy, possibly. Another one that I thought was great was Le Mat by Menditerosa, and that one again I gave a very good review. It's kind of a from memory like an immortelle patchouli rose thing, kind of sweet, quite interesting. That was great, and at the time I thought I would wear that. Again, I don't have a sample of that in this little tub. I must have used it all testing it. One sample that is in my to buy list is Ambre Sauvage by Annick Goutal. This is one of the vanilla fragrances that I remember trying and kind of, I think I smelled it in an airport, and in the video I said, oh, this is really good, you should check that out if you like vanilla. We'll give it a spray now and see what I think. So this one, it says, inscribed in the oldest legends, amber is one of the most carnal accords in perfumery, an amber with multiple contrasts between refinement of velvety iris and slight roughness of dark woods and patchouli. So yeah, this vanilla was like balanced a little bit with amber and iris, which I thought was quite interesting. It's a little on the synthetic side. If you like more kind of natural smelling fragrances, you might be a little bit disappointed with that one. It's pleasant, I do like it. There's almost from this, maybe a slightly suede kind of tone to it, which I'm not sure if I talked about in the review of it. The trouble is, now I've smelled so many vanillas over many, many years, it's very difficult to do a really good vanilla and be impressive, like, because there's a lot of good ones, you know? In general, I would say it's pleasant. I wouldn't go out of my way to rave about this one now, in hindsight, like smelling it again. Pleasant, I think a lot of people will like it. However, it's not in my to buy list anymore. Just because there's so many damn good vanillas out there. If I was to rank them, I don't think that would get high enough to warrant it. Kind of, I can think of better ones, and that is a sign that, you know, why bother if you can think of better ones, you know? So that one probably would be out of the window. At the time, I remember it being great and being quite impressed by it. When I smell it years later, I still think it's nice, it's pleasant, but am I bowled over it by the same way? No. So that one's gone. The other two fragrances I see in here is Rhinoceros, the original one by Zoologist. I wouldn't buy it, actually, to be honest. I think it's just too freaking heavy for me, the original version. I've not smelled the new version. I think it's been redone since. It's just too much. It's like huge, like tobacco, vetiver, woody, leathery. It's just all like super masculine. I don't think I would ever really wear it, so that would be out of the list of to buy, so to speak. Another, oh, Tundra by Rouge Bunny Rouge. So that is in the to buy list of interest. This is, I don't remember too much about it. Let me read it. Bergamot, pink pepper, laurel leaves, juniper, nutmeg, elm, patchouli, violet, moss, cedarwood, musk, and vetiver. Let me put it over here. Let's see if I still think it's good. Similar-ish direction to the designer fragrance that I liked, which for some reason I can't remember the name of it right now. Bottega Veneta, sorry. Kind of that aromatic. You get the pink pepper, you get this laurel leaf juniper thing. I think the juniper connection is probably reminding me the elm resin. You definitely kind of get that kind of thing. I like it. It's a little bit musty though. It's got a little bit of a kind of a man musk to it, if that makes sense. It's got a little bit of a sweaty kind of man musk behind it. I don't know where that's coming from. A little bit thick on the patchouli, and it's kind of dry, almost makes me want to sneeze. Very masculine. There's not many women that would want to wear that themselves. I would have thought it is quite dry, quite aromatic, quite kind of masculine kind of smelling, basically. I can imagine a dude in a black t-shirt and a black leather jacket with jeans riding a motorbike. That's kind of the vibe that it has. I've thrown it out of my to-buy list. I like it. Like if I smelled it on a dude, I'd be like, oh, you smell good. But I don't think it's my taste anymore. Yeah, it's a little bit dry, kind of smelling it too close kind of sucks the moisture out of your soul. The only other fragrances in this tin are some samples of female fragrances, female perfumes, my favourite women's perfumes, little samples. I think in the back of my head many years ago I thought, well, if I ever have another girlfriend, I've been single for 10 years, these are my favourite women's perfumes, maybe she could smell them and I could buy one of these for her. Dolce & Gabbana The Rose, Dolce & Gabbana the One Rose Edition. I thought that was lovely. Let's see what else we got in here. Guerlain Ideal Eau Sublime EDT. Narciso Rodriguez for Her EDT. Miss Dior Blooming Bouquet 2014 EDT. Christian Dior Hypnotic Poison EDT, that's very nice. What else have we got? Narciso Rodriguez for Her EDT again. Jean-Paul Gaultier Classique Eau de Parfum. Calvin Klein Euphoria EDP. Bulgari Aqua Divina EDT, that was pretty nice. That one, the label's disappeared so I can't read it anymore. And the last one is Dolce & Gabbana The One EDP. I like both the original and the Rose Edition. If I had to pick a favourite, probably the Rose Edition. There's no point keeping those because I've been single for 10 years and I'll probably be single for another 50 years. But there you go, that's my tin of my favourite fragrances, and now I've chucked half of them out. That's it, hope you enjoyed the video. I thought I'd do something a little bit different rather than just singular reviews. Take care of yourselves. If you have a to-buy list, let me know what is at the top of it, and I will see you soon with another video. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.
One time he disappeared for 2 or 3 days. When he came back, they asked him where he'd been, and he said, oh, just sailing.